Yo, what's good? It's your boy Druid, and I'm immediately like, I'm so sorry that I have not uploaded in literally a month. Um, that there is no excuse for that. I Just because life is inconvenient for me does not mean that I can't entertain y'all. And very excited to announce that we're going to revamp the channel in its glory. We're going to go ham this summer and keep y'all entertained throughout forever, really. We're very fortunate and lucky to be in the position that we are to get to do this. It's such a fun pastime. We really enjoy it. We're so thankful for everything. I mean, we'd be doing this if we weren't having viewers. I mean, shout out to the 3 that are. Stay tuned. So much content coming soon. And with that being said, I am so excited to tell y'all about the time that I got zooted out of my mind in music theory class. Let's get right into the story. This happened in the spring semester of my senior year, right? At this point, I wouldn't truly consider myself a degen, right? And this was one of the instances beginning that little slippery slope per se. I had just gotten back from a trip. I had been on vacation for about 4 days, and I had left on the Thursday, came back on Monday from Colorado. I had gone on a skiing trip. It was fun. It was so much fun. Best skiing in my life. And when my grandparents dropped me back off at school, I had recognized that by the time we got back, I only had one class left. It had already started. Like, I didn't expect to have any responsibilities besides, get myself situated and get ready for the next day. Period. Peace. And unfortunately, as soon as I walked in, all of my luggage, I was told that I was very much expected to be in my music theory class for whatever remaining amount, Thankfully, and the thing is, like, I don't even think that I would get to be marked as. I would legitimately just like have a tardy, and I'm like, bro, like, dude, I missed all my other classes today. Like, what is one more? Either way, I make my way back down to my room on the basement floor, and we get down on the floor. We're chilling, just me. I situate my stuff, and immediately, as I'm about to walk out the door, a little nagging thought hits my head, right? Little itch, little perky scratch, and it hits me. On those 4 days, I hadn't had any weed. But what was 10 feet away from me, if that, within my grasp, was a cart that I knew could get me sent. And because I hadn't had any in a while, because I had been getting high about 4 times a day the previous 4 days ago, I knew that my tolerance, it was probably in a fun place, And when I tell you, when I took those 3 blinkers back to back in Druid style, I got as high as I did. Is what it felt my first time, bro. I felt this slow come up, and I kind of, smiled. Initially, I didn't think I was really getting that high, I took the 3 blinkers back to back, put my pen back, walked out of my room, grabbed, the one binder that I would need, left everything else where it was, because, dude, if I actually tried to unpack, it would have been like at least 2 hours, and I might have missed dinner at that point. I make my way up the walkway, Fortunately, the people in the lobby, they don't give me too much attention. Then again, every artist is a little bit of a hooligan. What do you expect? Come on. And I eventually, I knock on the door of the class. I make my way through. I make my way to a seat. The teacher's, a little surprised that, he doesn't show up for, the first 45. But hey, like, for the 25 minutes remaining, chill. All good. No worries, man. And I take my seat, right? I dap up my homies. The guy next to me gives me a little side eye, bombastic bitch. A little disapproving of my lifestyle, which was, common knowledge, or between me and him. And my friend Easton, is, for the sake of this video, that's his name, was very quick to point out that I was a little higher than I expected. I didn't think I was getting as high as I did. And as I referenced earlier, maybe higher than the first time I got high, this shit was crazy. But at this point, just pretty stoned, kind of loopy, giggly, pretty euphoric. The serotonin that doesn't exist otherwise was firing, and I felt at peace within my soul, I felt everything was all right in this world, because that's what weed does. And I'm just praying this entire time. There's no way. Please do not call me up. I swear to God, do not. Because I realize, like, you get higher, like, when you're in the rising action, it doesn't just go rising action to falling action. There's a climax, And in order for you to get to that falling action, you have to reach the climax. And I was very sure that I was not at that point yet, ladies and gentlemen. What do you know? 10 minutes left to go. 5 minutes left to go. Nothing. I am the luckiest kid. I get to go on a snowboarding trip in Colorado where the best snow is. And then I get to sit with my friends in a BS class high out of my mind. Hey, that's not a bad day. Maybe I did spend the most of it on a flight. But hey, the 4-hour plane ride made this high all worth it, 4-hour flight after not getting high for 4 days, I loving this feeling. I'm loving this feeling. Unfortunately for me, 2 minutes remain still. My teacher, Dr. J, he takes ample opportunity of this moment and calls me up to the board. Generally, when I get called up, it's not a big deal. Like, bro, I can wing it. It'll be whatever. Like, what's the point of being mediocre once? Like, I'm not dumb, And when I walk up there, that's when I climax, bro. Or maybe, like, during the problem, technically. But, like, I get up to this board where he directed me to this problem, and I'm trying to analyze these chord progressions, bro. And when I tell you, bro, like 1, 4, 5, those are the things that I could have worked with. Those are the simple chord progressions. That would have been like the best bet for this situation. This is like majority 7th chords, the odd ones that aren't the major minor or just the regular, traditional. Like, it's not like a C major 7th or just a C7. It's like these chords are not in their root form, and they have like a interesting cadence, and I don't know. I was just thrown for a loop, and honestly, like 95% of it was probably in my head. But either way, the weed was talking. It was shit talking, matter of fact. And it was clapping my ass, because the longer I stared at this page, the more it looked like ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs. Bro, I couldn't tell if that was a clef or if that was Horus, I couldn't tell if that little squiggly, if that was a line, or if I couldn't tell if we were returning to the root chord, or if I was entering Osiris's dimension, just nothing was clicking. Nothing remotely made sense. Nothing was coherent in any whatsoever way. Somehow he manages to coach me through, and I pick up on his body language, because, like, bro, that's all you have in this moment. I was looking for every little cheat, like, forget trying to figure out which answer isn't the same, bro. I'm looking at the teacher to answer this problem for me, because I, in my mental state, cannot. This mental capacity at that high, dude, I've heard different people talk about this, and this is something that's quite interesting to me. But weed in high doses can literally be like a psychedelic experience in some ways. I've taken some dumb edible doses, and like I said, like, I made a Dormammu in Toy Story Army Soldiers video because that literally happened. It's not just like a theory that Joe Rogan spouts with Bert Kreischer. Like, this isn't unique. This is something very real. And I don't know what happens with weed and technology and lines, but whenever there's lines and on technology and you're faded than a hoe, as Fulcrum would put it, shout out the guy, it was just not happening. And eventually I make it back to my seat, and as soon as I finish the problem, bro, I realize I'm not very high anymore. And there's something about, as soon as I figured out the answer and it clicked in my mind, which I could not tell you for the love of anything unholy. I could not tell you for the love of all things degenerate what that could have been, because there were multiple answers in that problem. It was complicated and complex, like having period sex. It was a bloody mess. That's all I'm saying. Bloody mess. Either way, I make my way back. As I get to my seat, he dismisses the class. That little fiasco, it literally took maybe 4 or 5 minutes, right? And while I'm trying to comprehend these staffs, these chords, trying to figure out, one, what chord they are by playing them in my head, and then trying to figure out what element that they're transfiguring to or transposing to, bro. This is like trying to get Sokka to waterbend. Like, it might work for Katara, and Katara might be the closest genetically related ever. But in that instance, I was Sokka, and Dr. J was my Katara, bro. Because he completely, he could have farted and it would have been right. Bro, I needed like 2 or 3 different brain cells to fire instead of the 1.5, you know? Either way, that was a crazy experience. And in summary, that was the time that I got zooted in my music theory class. I am so excited for y'all to see the new content. Can't wait to get into it. I hope y'all have a crazy stoner day. Peace. Love y'all.